Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Pitch 2020 information session. My name is Marcus Weekly. I'm the director of the Center for Writing and Rhetoric at CGU and the main organizer of the Big Pitch. This session is intended mainly to just do what the title says, provide some information. We have some upcoming webinars which will go in depth on other aspects of the event, but today's agenda is really just to talk very briefly about some of the background and purpose of the event, then to go over in a bit more detail the deadlines, requirements, and forms required to participate, some of the extensive resources we have and are developing in order to support your participation competition in the event, and then some question and answers time at the end. So to start with the background and purpose, the 3-minute thesis event, which is the format of the Big Pitch, was created at the University of Queensland in Australia back in 2008. So that's why it's called a 3-minute thesis. In Britain and Australia, the dissertation, what we call the dissertation, is called a thesis, and what we call a thesis is called a dissertation for most disciplines. So that was back in 2008. By 2010, it began spreading internationally, and there were some Southeast Asian competitions, so internationally but semi-local, and now it's held at over 600 universities in over 65 countries. We are a part of the Southwest Association of Graduate Schools. So that is our kind of local regional affiliation. And the winner, or at least one of the finalists from this year's competition, we will be sending to that virtual regional competition to compete on behalf of CGU, which isn't an international competition, but it is a regional one. And so this sort of network has developed and built out since 2008, both within countries and internationally at over 600 universities now. The original format was designed for PhD students that were close to completion. They've finished their research. A strong focus on the sciences, hard sciences, and the social sciences. But over the years, different universities adapted it to their own individual localities. And so for our competition, it is open to any CGU student at any stage of progress for any degree type. So that could be any type of master's or terminal doctoral degree. And you don't have to have this be your final research that you're completing. It's often helpful to do that in that you're really familiar with it and have a lot to talk about, but it doesn't need to be. And there are many instances, and we'll talk more about that. I can talk about it briefly today, maybe during question and answer, but definitely the upcoming webinars, which I'll mention in more detail a bit later, they're going to address how to transform any sort of idea you're having to a big pitch, to a 3-minute presentation. So 2020 is the inaugural year here at CGU. So if you choose to compete this year, you will be a part of the first Big Pitch at CGU. So why are we doing it? Well, the event format establishes a powerful means for skill development. And these are a range of different skills, right? So in the usual structure where you're presenting in front of a large audience, made up of, students from across the university, faculty, staff, alumni, and community members. You've got a general audience feel and a large audience. So these are two really unique skill sets that you're developing, right? The presenting to a large audience is different than just presenting to a class, and presenting to an audience that doesn't have a lot of background information, or you can't assume has a lot of background information on your topic, is again another skill set there. Limiting that to 3 minutes is a whole nother skill set. So you can see there are layers to this. There are layers to developing a successful pitch, which are really useful skill sets, even within the broader skill set of developing presentation skills, let's say. The shift this year to the all virtual format means that the large live audience piece is pulled from that. So the learning outcomes shift a bit. And I say shift because even though that's removed, what we're seeing now with the, shift in communication with the pandemic, but then also just more broadly with the, it probably will be facilitated by the current state of affairs that we're living through. But even nonetheless, the technological integration into, societies like, the ones that we interact with here through CGU, it's going to become more and more important to be able to do things like present virtually, right? It is different. It is a different set of skills to present for 3 minutes to a camera that's set up and you're looking at, and that's your audience, right? You still have to assume it's a general audience. You still have to do the other sort of concision and, attracting of a broader general audience for the virtual big pitch, but you now need to do it through this other medium, through the technological medium of recording the video. So we'll talk a bit more about that later, but these are all important skills, and there are many others, I think, as well. Another thing is, the nature of CGU as being, even when we, were having classes in person, there was a large subset of the student population that commutes to CGU. And there aren't a lot of opportunities for students across different departments or different schools to share their research with one another. So this event does a lot to address that, right? There's now a central location where, a central event where students are able to share their research, their work, their projects with other students across the university, with staff members, with faculty, with the broader school community, and do it in a way that's accessible, yet not dumbed down. I think it builds school spirit as well. Again, CGU doesn't, given the graduate only, oftentimes commuter type feel, doesn't have a lot of events that reach across subsets of, the student populations or the larger school community. And I think this event does that powerfully. And then finally, it improves our external relations. So as not only within our local community, as some of the judges on the judging panel will come from our local community. It also, like I mentioned, we're going to send a representative to the Southwest Association of Graduate Schools. We're going to start to, represent ourselves through this event to broader constituencies. And I think that's an important reason to do it as well. So logistics. Start with deadlines. The finals will be on Friday, November 20th, 12 p.m. These will be live streamed. Probably 12 to 1, might go to 1:30. Again, as I'll mention in more detail in a moment, but I've alluded to, this is a virtual version of the event, and the videos are pre-recorded. So it will be a live stream event on Friday, November 20th at 12 p.m. where we'll play the pre-recorded videos, and the judging will go on there, and the announcement of the winners and all those sorts of things during the finals. The preliminary round will occur that same week, Monday through Wednesday. What that looks like is a posting of all the submitted videos along with a PDF of the PowerPoint slides for that video. And I say slides because you can choose to have an introduction slide and then your single slide. It might just be a PDF of your single slide. Those will be posted on the website for the big pitch from Monday to Wednesday the previous week. The preliminary round judging panel will go through and choose the finalists. The finalists will be notified on Wednesday, November 18th at the end of the day. So you should set that Friday aside if you do want to compete, and you should tell all of your friends and classmates that the preliminary round will be occurring the week before that. So you can go and watch all the competitors' videos, and we will set it up so that if you are affiliated with CGU in some sort of way as alumni, faculty, staff, or student, you will be able to vote for the People's Choice Award, which is one of the winners for the event. So in order to compete, another major deadline is the video and PowerPoint slide deadline. So that occurs on Thursday, November 12th. So that's the hard deadline for the completion of the content. The priority participation deadline, however, occurs on Friday, October 30th. So the last priority day, which means guaranteed participation, is on Friday, October 30th. The final participation deadline total, if by Friday, October 30th, all the slots haven't been filled up for the event, you can still have until Monday, November 9th to register. Here's a breakdown of what you need to turn in and do. If you want to attend, you sign up by clicking on this link, which is also prominently displayed on the Big Pitch website. To compete, you'll also want to fill out a form that's linked here and also on the website. At that point then, after you've done, let's say you want to compete, which I'm assuming why most people are here, you'll want to develop a title slide, or at least minimally an information slide. And those should utilize the Big Pitch template, PowerPoint slide template, which is found, again, on the Big Pitch website at cgu.edu/thebigpitch. As far as the recording goes for the virtual format, you're going to want to record a video and then upload it to a personal YouTube account. What you submit then will be your PowerPoint file and the video link to your pre-recorded video that you've uploaded to YouTube, to 3mt@cgu.edu, to our email address by the deadline. Then, as I mentioned, the video and slide will be posted on the Big Pitch website, and you'll be notified by email by the end of day Wednesday if you've made it to the finals, and then you'll want to attend the finals. So some of the main rules here for the event in the virtual format, and many of these apply either way. So you'll want to record and edit your own video with any available recording or mobile device. So that can be your phone. You can use Zoom to do it on a laptop, on a desktop, on a computer. You know, any sort of device works. You are allowed to edit the video only by adding, you know, an image of the PowerPoint slide at different times. So you're able to edit in while the audio continues to run. You're able to cut the video feed from you being recorded while the audio is still running, so we can maintain the integrity of the 3-minute format. You can cut over to a PowerPoint slide. As maybe you would when you're presenting live, you might refer to a PowerPoint slide and draw the audience's attention there in some sort of way by a hand gesture or by mentioning something on there. You're able to do only that editing where you have, you know, the title slide up front as you begin speaking, and then at a few different points during the video, an editing in of the PowerPoint slide that you've developed while the audio continues to run. There can be no editing of the audio file because that needs to maintain the 3-minute format. And as I mentioned, then you upload your videos yourself, and then you submit the PowerPoint slide. If you don't edit in the PowerPoint slide at various points, you will not get marked down for that, and you won't get marked up for doing it either. Part of one of the key elements of this format is that the video quality isn't going to get you marked down on the judging criteria at all. So all the judges, as well as the public, via the websites and the live stream will have access to the PowerPoint slide and will be able to review it while you're presenting, right? Or before you present, they'll be able to look at it briefly, right? This doesn't stray from the usual format very much. And it means that, you know, there's equity here for the people that have access to, you know, better quality equipment, or who are able to do the editing a little more professionally, and people that just don't have that ability or the time to develop it for the event. There will be no difference in judging, right, in the final scores based on those sorts of criteria. Some key elements that'll get you disqualified that you should know about is that the PowerPoint slide must be static. So there's no slide transitions, animations, anything of that kind allowed. The slide itself cannot be modified between rounds. Once it's submitted to the email address by the deadline, that's it. That's the slide that's used. You are, however, allowed to record a new video if you make it to the finals between the preliminary round and the finals. So there's very little time to do it, but you are technically allowed to do it if you would like to submit a different video. That will be due the Thursday, right? In between the end of the preliminary round and the beginning of the finals, we'll need to get that video on the Thursday if you choose to do it. Competitors that reach the final round, yes, I already said that, sorry. There are no additional props permitted of any kind. It's just you speaking to the camera. Again, 3 minutes, there to be spoken word. There's no singing, performance of any kind other than it's a presentation. And then the decision of the judging panel is final. And we do recommend business casual as far as attire. Here's the judging criteria. It's always helpful to know what the rubric is. And so this is what you're going to be judged on. So the two main categories are going to be comprehension and content, and then engagement and communication. So for the former, did the presentation provide an understanding of the background and significance of the research question to be addressed while explaining terminology and avoiding jargon? So as you can see, these are essential elements of presenting to a general audience. Did the presentation clearly describe the impact and our results of the research, including conclusions and outcomes? So depending on where you're at in the research process, this might be more readily available to you than at other times. But the idea is, even if you don't have the conclusions and outcomes completely decided, you foreshadow the sorts of changes, impacts, significance that might occur based on the completion of this project. You know, let's say if it's a business plan, or if you're an artist providing an artist statement, which I think would make an incredible big pitch, you know, just explaining to your audience some of the significance of what you hope your audience gets out of your work and why that's important for the world today, right? And if you're developing a research project that, you know, you don't have the outcomes yet, again, you foreshadow what some of those might be, or more importantly, what some of, you know, what the conclusions you're hoping they do, what sort of real world impact you hope they have. Was there a clear and logical sequence? Was the thesis topic, research significant, results, impact communicated in language appropriate to a non-specialist audience? And did the presenter spend adequate time on each element of their presentation? Or did it seem imbalanced? Was something elaborated on for too long and something else rushed? In terms of engagement and communication, it's, did the oration make the audience want to know more? Was the presenter careful not to trivialize or generalize their research? Did the presenter convey enthusiasm? And did the presenter capture and maintain their audience's attention? Some of the resources here that we have developed for this year's event is this information session that's occurring right now. The next event is the big pitch strategies. So this will go over how do you provide background? What sorts of ways can you structure structure a pitch depending on what you're talking about, working through outlining that, ways to develop hooks, ways to ensure that you're presenting for a general audience, all of these really key sorts of strategies. That will occur on Tuesday, October 6th. After that, doing a presentation at the Humanities Forum for the School of Arts and Humanities to talk about specific ways of shifting, this kind of culturally around the world, as well as maybe at first glance, you might think this is really just for social science research, but we want to open this up to business projects, to artists, to scholars in the humanities. So going to have a forum just on how to translate humanities research for the format. Then on the 20th of October, a webinar just about developing that PowerPoint slide. So different tips and tricks for how to convey information, the information you want on a single slide without it being overwhelming, which is what you don't want it to be. You want less is more for the most part with your PowerPoint slide with this format. The presentation skills workshop will occur then the week in between that PowerPoint slides and the next event on November 5th. It's still to be determined exactly when that's going to occur. You'll find that information as registration for all of these webinars on the Big Pitch website. So after that, for anyone who missed the previous webinars or who has further questions, because they all will be available asynchronously through the Big Pitch YouTube channel and posted on the Big Pitch website, so you can watch them at a later time, is a combined webinar of the Big Pitch strategies and PowerPoint slides for an hour and a half, a bit more of a workshop feel. And then the International Scholars Program is having a two-part pair of webinars that apply to the Big Pitch for international students, and those are occurring on Friday, October 9th and Friday, October 30th from 7 to 10 p.m. So some other resources. We're in the process of hiring a Big Pitch communication specialist. That individual will offer weekly drop-in hours to drop in and talk about any aspect of developing your pitch, or they'll be available to set up individual meetings that fit your schedule better. They're also going to be involved in developing more resources than we already have. We've got a few handouts, lots of example videos, and this webinar series. They will be also developing further complementary resources. The Center for Writing and Rhetoric, all the consultants are going to be trained in, providing consultations for your pitch. So you can make an appointment at the Center for Writing and Rhetoric, see a consultant, and work through any aspect of the pitch. And then you should also request access to our Canvas site, which we already have a lot of, tailored, well-organized resources there, and we're going to continue to build that out over the next month. So before I ask any questions, one thing that I realized that I skipped here is a very important, let's do a quick tour of the cgu.edu /Big Pitch website here. So as you can see, the registration to participate is right here on the homepage. You just click on that and fill out the form. Some important information, but then what I forgot somehow, I was focused on other elements, I guess, but the prizes for the Big Pitch. So first place is $1,000, second place is $500, third is $250, the audience's winner, $250, and all finalists receive at least $150. Every participant will receive event-specific swag. Looking like it's going to be a cool t-shirt this year. And any of the finalists can also, and even if you don't make it to the finals, you can still win the audience's winner award. Voting will occur during the preliminary round and during the finals. Everyone can only vote once. But yes, so you could win up to $1,250, you know, $1,250, or, you know, any combination of those across the prizes. And then you'll see here the registration to attend as well is right here on the homepage. And we've got all the webinars listed just right here. The presentation skills will be updated shortly, along with the information for the you know, the communication specialist, who should be hired hopefully this week, and their drop-in hours, as well as, you know, their contact information to set up outside of the drop-in hour appointments, will be available again just right here on the homepage. So this is your main resource to begin, and we do have connected to it, you know, a rules and resources page. Here's the PowerPoint template. The actual judging rubric, which, you know, we already went over, but you can see, you know, you can download and see here exactly what it's going to look like, how you will be judged, which I always think is quite helpful. And then, again, this we went over here, but you can find this information at any point on the website, and a number of example videos posted right here. When we record a new webinar, I will update this page or the homepage by embedding that video. And you'll see here, here's where all the videos will be posted during the preliminary round. So this is going to be your main resource for the big pitch. One other thing I wanted to mention, which I did not include earlier, is the is the fact that you are able to compete once. So if you see yourself, this event will occur every fall from this point on. It will be a fall event, probably November of every year. So if you see yourself still here next November, I encourage you to still compete this year. You can not only win 2 years in a row, of course, you could win multiple years in a row, but you know, you will improve a lot by going through the process once, let's say, even if you don't make it. And to be honest, to think about your research and or your work of any kind, to delve into it in the sort of way that, you know, genuinely preparing for a competition like this requires, you know, you'll learn a lot through that process. So it won't be wasted time. And you're always allowed to come back and do it again next year.